sense of these gates, these fortresses in hearts, and we call them holy souls, and that's why we have to allow the Father to restore our souls. This is why the gates have to be destroyed, because those things are set up as my fight or flight, because you mentioned the fight or flight. And it's all a game. The enemy sets up these gates, these fortresses in hearts, and we call them holy souls, and that's why we have to allow the Father to restore our souls. This is why the gates have to be destroyed, because those things are set up as my fight or flight, because you mentioned the fight or flight. Welcome to the congregation worldwide. We're part of the ecclesiastical body of divine citizenship in the kingdom of Yah. Listen, we are a people called out and consecrated to recognize and walk out our original design in Yah's image, in his form, and in his likeness, his character. We walk as the body of the Hamashiach, aligned with Abba's will. We are sons in authority, heirs in dominion, empowered by the Spirit of Yah for exploits. Wow. To rule. To replenish, to multiply, and to spoil the works of darkness. We have no allegiance to the to religion and its industry. Our allegiance is to our King, to the expansion of the influence of his kingdom. We are the congregation worldwide. This Well, we have some challenges this evening, and I'm excited about the challenges, but we're going to do whatever we can to work around the challenges tonight. Brother, I am going to, if it does this again, I'm just going to open the floor and let you talk. I'm going to do something in the background to see if I can mitigate that nonsense that's going on in the background. And then we'll move from there. But it looks like we might be okay for the moment. I hope you guys heard the introduction. Listen, we're going to keep moving regardless of what we're being challenged with right now. And I'm going to open up the floor, brother. As soon as this thing passes, um, go ahead and begin to share. I'm going to come right back. Brother, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
cool. Yep, I'm trying to mitigate the confusion right now. We are not doing this
Yeah,
tonight. So
right, right.
it's so amazing. I'm going to share some things with you that I think are absolutely so amazing. And let me make sure I'm
Mhm.
removing that. I want to remove those things that could potentially um, interrupt the hearing. Yeah, it's still doing it. Okay. Hold on. I have a couple more things I need to close on my end. You guys that are in the room, say something. Shalom to you. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. I want you to share where you're viewing us from, share who's in the room. Let's just kind of come together really quickly, mitigate these issues here. Blessings, Elder Vicky. I see you. All right. I see a couple more people watching. You guys- All right. I'm still closing some things to make sure. Brother, are you still there?
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
Okay. Awesome. Maybe we have um, bypassed whatever that was. I think it was something is pulling on my. This is crazy. It should not be doing any of this. I'm going to try one more thing, brother, before we get started. This is going to be one of the most powerful conversations we've had ever. I'm telling you right now. The amount of opposition that we're having right now is indicative of how powerful the conversation is for real. And I'm excited to share the things that we're going to share tonight with you. I'm excited to have my brother on with me to share these things. All right, now we've gone all the way back to the basics tonight because here's one of the things that the Father wanted me to express to you guys. And I think that this, to me, I'm not going to say it's adversarial as much as it is. I'm gonna digress on that for a moment because I believe one of the things that is essential for us to understand in this hour is that the Father is not just calling for how a thing looks. He's not just calling for how a thing looks. His desire is for us to go beyond the appearance of things and to step into the heart of the matter. What he's actually desiring is that the heart of the matter and what the heart of the matter is expressing his heart. And so sometimes we can really be overwhelmed with how to present a thing. And I'm not saying that the presentation is not important because very much so is. The reality is that presentation is for the people. It's not for us. It's for people that don't have ears to hear or eyes to see. They have to see something. The word declares that the Father looks on the heart of the matter, but man looks on the outward appearance. So there has to be some kind of representation there in order for there to be um, an attention given to it, right? So this is what we're going to do. Brother, I'm going to turn it over to you for a moment. I'm going to try to go out of the room and come back in the room and see if it clears my side of things. Um, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. You guys hold tight. We're 11 minutes in and we have been challenged. We're getting into this 12-minute, and I promise you, the government of Yah is going to move forward. It's going to move forward. I love it tonight. Brother, can you do that for me? I'm going to go out of the room and I'm going to come back in.
Well, listen, I'm just, as I was stating, it is good to be here and to be with everyone. And these little things is minor and it's nothing. And we will go forward, as Sister has stated. But aren't you just glad to be in the land of the living, in the midst of so many things that are happening, that we are very mindful of the things of Yah and what Yah is doing. I'm excited. Listen, this is a good time to be alive. It really is. And so, as what as we go on forth day by day, moment by moment, and the things that Yah we are seeing, Yah is orchestrating, the orchestrator of everything. Things that are happening today, we see that Yah is revealing. One of my, I would just read one of my favorite scriptures that I like to read all the time, and as Sister continue to do the things that she's doing, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and and verse 12 through verse 14, and this is what it says. But about going further than words given by one shepherd, my son, be warned of making many books. There is no end, and much study is wearisome to the flesh. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of books out, a lot of things going on, and there is no end. And much study is wearisome to the flesh. Then verse 13 said, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. No matter what, all the books you read, we read many books. I've read many books down through the years. Absolutely. Been encouraged to write books and what have you. I wrote part of books, and we people are trying to find life, trying to find the answer. What is they want the tree of life? What is the water of life? People are trying to find truth. Absolutely. But here the writer Solomon's son, he said, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Why? Because in his journey of quest to find the answer, what is the answer? Going different places. If you read the Ecclesiastes, you can be able to see and follow the journey to come to this point right here. And it's really interesting. He said, reverence Yahweh by observing, keeping his laws. This is the whole duty of man. When it all boils down, it all comes back around, all the studying, and just says get wearisome to the flesh. It does. There's times I'm just, I'm reading all kind of books and this and that and the other, ancient books, modern books, just doing research. I love to do that. But the conclusion of the whole matter, it boils down to who? Keeping Yahweh's laws. Well, this is the whole duty of man. In verse 14, for Yahweh will bring every work into judgment. Every work into judgment. Yes, we're in judgment. This is the latter end of the tribulation. Yes, it is. And so we are in judgment because Yah says this is what he's going to do, bring every work, everything, and then including every secret thing, whether it is righteous or whether it is evil. No one is not exempt. He's revealing, and you got to come to some understanding, and you have to admit many things are being revealed. Many things are coming to light. Absolutely. Things that are secret, even about yourself. Things about yourself is coming to light. Things that was in the unconscious mind of you, beneath the surface. Yes, there's the conscious mind, and there's the subconscious. Then there's the unconscious mind. That unconscious mind, now things are spiraling up, coming up and out, and being revealed. Things that you haven't thought about, things that you have forgot about, things that you don't want to remember. And there's a sister, she looked like she's coming back on in. Hallelujah. But things are spiraling up, coming from beneath the surface, the unconscious mind. Yahweh is revealing all secret things, whether it is righteous or whether it is evil. But here's my thing. Yah, if you're going to judge me, I want you to judge me in living righteous. Absolutely. But I don't want to be judged being evil. So about getting our hearts right, it's because sister said, listen, in the introduction that she was going for, it's about what? Yahweh searches the heart. Search my heart. He connects to your heart. He's exposing the heart. Yahweh is exposing our hearts. The world we understand outside of Yah, all of that's being revealed. We see it. But his house, what is Yahweh doing with us? Absolutely. So there's things that are happening. Like I said, no one's not exempt. Absolutely no one. And so we're here. We're seeing so many things. And Yahweh is judging. Yahweh is judging. Is this the time to get it right? Tribulation means it gives you opportunity to get it right in the revealing of things. Things are coming up. Things are being seen. So now it gives us, see, this is time and space to repent, to get it together. This is what's happening. It's giving us time and space to say, hey, I can see it now. I can make a choice. I can make a choice, either yay or nay, yes or no, black or white. Absolutely. So this is where we are. We have to make a decision. Absolutely. And when we make that decision, because you got to understand, the middle ground, that lukewarm section, you can forget that. No. That's been eliminated. The gray area, been eliminated. The warm and fuzzy, lukewarm area, wiping that out. Because now it's about yay or nay, yes or no. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at, in the fullness of this. And so I trust that sisters Still get. I saw her come in the screen for a second. There she is. Um, I don't know whether or not she can hear me or how things are going. And oh, okay, that's I hear. I hear me. So I trust that sisters still get. I saw her come in the screen for a second.
I'm in here, brother.
I'm hearing myself in the delay. A delay
Give me
going
1 second. I'm trying to close that window. And this is the oddest, when I tell you, the oddest thing ever.
Okay. Sister is still working at it. Well, we're all in agreement that we will do the assignment that is for today. Period.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Wow. When I tell you that was absolutely amazing. Oh, there it is. Okay, let me close this. Now, this could have been my problem right here. Somehow I had, yeah, I think I found it. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Wow. My computer is having an issue closing windows, but I think I located the issue. So in just a moment, we'll have clearance here. Just give me a moment. As soon as this ends, this thing will drop the rest of my conversation in a moment. I don't know why it's struggling to close windows. Like the window is closed on my computer. However, I still hear myself. That's odd. Okay, here we go. I think I found the other one. I love y'all. Thank you so much for your patience. Those that are hanging on, you ready? Those that are hanging on are ready for this word, for real. I think y'all ready for this word because this is okay. Are we clear now? You can still hear me, brother?
Yes, I can. I can hear you loud and
Ooh-wee. Don't tell me we done figured it out now.
clear.
Because when I tell you that was crazy, now they could not hear what I was hearing on my end. I don't think. If you guys could hear that on your side, let me know. But I don't think that they could hear what I was hearing. But the problem was that because I could hear it, it was impairing my ability to continue. Like you were talking about the feedback, how difficult it is to continue a conversation when you're hearing yourself back.
Right, exactly.
And that's what was happening on my end. I was hearing myself back. And because I was hearing myself back,
Oh,
we're okay. Give me a second. I'm messing with stuff to figure it out. All right, I lowered that all the way. Let me take me out of here. I think we're okay now. Can you hear me, brother?
yes, I can.
Ooh-wee. Now, you remember I told you before I went live that my whole section of notes that I had put up because I wanted to kind of make sure I had because I have so much to share tonight, I wanted to make sure at least that there was some kind of organization of my thoughts. Even if I moved around in that, it was okay. But I wanted to make sure that I was covering the territory of things, right? And wouldn't you know it that when I logged out or logged off of this browser and came back to the browser, the notes were there. That's
Oh my, oh my.
this is amazing to me, okay? It's absolutely amazing. That's all I can say. But I'm excited about tonight. And I was hearing what you were saying. It is absolutely in alignment, which is, one of the things that's so blessed about being connected properly, being divinely connected to people, is the fact that you don't have to be concerned about what they're going to say while you're gone. If you're divinely connected, listen, That divine connectivity produces something so powerful. It produces something so powerful. And I'm praying that you guys can still hear and see. Can you hear us still? Brother, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you something about how the Father is so concerned. He's concerned about the things that concern us, but not to the degree that it bypasses his will being done. If it, in any way inhibits his will, then he will not allow that thing to move in the direction that you're desiring it to go, because it inhibits his will being done, right? And it becomes more so about something that you want versus him being, glorified in it. And this is a hard conversation for a lot of times. People are thinking, well, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. But I'm going to say this. There are times when the Father is calling for more of us, and he does that in different seasons of our life. He says more, right? But if you are an arrogant son, or if you are an ignorant son, then you're thinking that he's saying you're not doing anything. But what he's really saying is that I need more of you so that you can have a greater capacity for more of me. Does that make sense? He's not saying that you're not doing anything. He's not saying that you're not offering anything. He's saying that was good for last season. Now I need more, because there's more I want to give you. So I have some foundational passages that I want to share with you after I get through going through my beginning, because I'm going to go through it, because there are things that are foundationally in the beginning of this conversation that he gave me that we were unable to hear because there was so many things going on. And I want to speak to that, because the reality is, and I think I heard you say this, brother, you guys are going to understand the titles more and more as we go on. But the truth of the matter is that there are so many different sounds, so many frequencies, so many conversations going on in the earth. And I don't know if you guys heard how I opened up the broadcast, but at the end of that opening, you heard a bunch of voices all at once. And why? Because it is necessary to understand that amidst all of the noise, amidst all of the pestilence of noise that's in the earth, we have a respondability to be able to hear the voice of our shepherd and to respond to that voice and that voice alone. Because there are many voices that sound similar, many voices that sound right. And you'll understand even those things as I go on and have some further discussion about what I mean by that. There are voices that sound similar, but every voice, oh, I love this about how the Father created us. Although some voices can sound similar, every voice has its own color, its own timbre, its own intonation. It cannot be replicated. And even though AI, quote unquote, can try to mirror voices, if you are acquainted with people and people and you know the voice, the human voice, the voice that is alive, the voice that has a soul, you can even then identify, you can even then decipher what you're hearing. But the problem is that we've been so programmed to just hear things and to just listen to things without deciphering where it's coming from. What is this and where is it coming from? Does that make sense? Brother Responso, I know that you are still in the room. I know you got it on mute on your end, but if you can unmute, that'd be great. If you can do it and it's not giving you no feedback, because I want you to respond like we do when we're on the phone. I need your feedback. The world needs our feedback. It needs the conversation. It needs the conversation. Okay. So I opened up by reading to you guys the intro regarding the congregation, but I want to read you the introduction for the Eonic Announcement. Okay. And then I'll go into some greater depth about what these things are, because sometimes, and I want to say this, let me preface this with this first. Let me preface this with this, because the reality is this. Sometimes we are not aware of a thing that's being said. But the fact that you're not aware of what's being said does not mean that it doesn't exist. So this is why I'm going to give you some foundational passages amongst all the other passages that you'll hear this evening. They're going to be shared tonight, because when we're breaking people out of the captivity of the mind, which is the most miraculous thing that can be done in this age. Breaking the captivity of the mind. It is the strongest captivity. Okay? When we're breaking the captivity of the mind, evidences must be given to prove the reality that just because you weren't aware of a thing doesn't mean it's non-existent. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Your ignorance of something being a reality doesn't make it a non-reality. It just means you're not aware. You understand? And so this is why it's so important as sons that we are sensitive to the spirit of Yah, because there are going to be things, great and mighty things that we don't know nothing about, that he wants to tell us about. So I'm going to give you some foundational passages after we have a discussion about this introduction that you may be able to read along with me in the description section on YouTube and go back for your own personal consumption at a later time. The Eonic Announcement is heaven's trumpet breaking through the pestilence of noise, unveiling the cipher of eternity in the now. This blast declares with finality that no external darkness, no force of opposition can destroy the mission of the sons of the Eon. For what Yah ordains stands unshaken across the ages. Yet it warns with equal weight that internal darkness is personal. It's dulling discernment, a slumber of ignorance, a refusal to decode the sound. This is a personal abortion of a mission, not an erasure of the mission, but it's an ignorance of it. The trumpet blast of this season comes, therefore, as both sword and summons, to pierce the inner veil of the heart and the mind of men, to awaken the ear and to anchor every son and daughter in the eternal conversation of their generation, that they may fulfill the exacting of their purpose without further delay. Welcome to the Cipher, an Eonic Announcement. This is Yom Teruah 6785. Brother, what do you have to say? You know, we always break down our introduction, but I'm going to go further in this description here.
Ooh-wee. Oh my goodness. Sister,
That's always the first response. We.
sister, oh my goodness.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
oh, yeah.
So much.
The
So many
the
things.
the introduction wasn't long, but it's power packed. You know, oh my
My
goodness.
God.
And so um, I'm sitting here, I got a big grin on my face.
I know
Oh
you do, because this is where we
yes.
at,
And
brother.
so it's it it has to be done. Things that I go back to what you were saying about the many voices. Let me start there with the many voices, because there are many voices, and you talk about the frequencies and things like that. And so there are
Yeah.
many things that's in our head. It almost becomes schizophrenic hearing all kind of voices. Okay, but in the midst of
Mhm.
all the chaos, we got to begin to zoom in on the voice that is
Yes.
different frequency from all the sound that's in our head and that we're getting from the spirit realm.
Woo.
And so therefore there is a sound, there is a frequency. Let me think about the sun has a hertz, the moon has a frequency, the earth has a frequency. Different things have a frequency, a particular sound, a
Mm,
particular area of identifying this is what that is.
my
So
God.
there are many sounds that are out there that people can identify. But it's so many sounds that are being revealed coming forth today. It is a, like they say back in the day, when it came down to the computer, the internet web, the highway
Yes.
web. It's so cluttered.
Yes.
The World
Yep.
Wide Web is so cluttered, and so therefore it's like what can I identify with? And it's something, because you said something about AI, and it's interesting because now we have the people are listening to so many things. People are listening, but they don't hear,
They don't hear.
because we're trained to listen, but we don't use what we were born with, and that's hearing. because when you
on.
begin to hear, you begin to focus out
You
everything.
decipher. When you hear, when you
Begin to
start hearing,
decipher.
you're able to decipher.
Absolutely. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because when, back in the day when I was in the martial arts and I did a lot of training,
Yes.
one of the things, even when I began to walk Hebraically and what have you, because we got to deal with the sound, different voices. And
Gotta
it's
do.
interesting. One of the demonstrations that I did, I would blindfold people,
Yes.
and I have about 5 or 6 people, all around them. And my voice is the voice of Yah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have all different types of subjects: gas bill, light bill, this, that, and the other. Just so everybody's saying they're who they are. I'm light bill, gas bill, this and that and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the voice of God calling the person's name,
Yeah.
Mary, Mary. So I would move around along with the voices. So some people would be trying to find, say, you follow when you hear your name.
Follow my voice.
Follow my voice.
Yes.
In the beginning, it was okay. Then all of a sudden, it began to it got louder and closer.
Yes.
Now, find my voice.
Yeah.
Find my voice because I'm gonna move here. I'm gonna begin moving here, and some people get so frustrated.
Ooh, and
Just
I think that's so powerful that you mentioned that, because the reality is, even with this situation, we're getting this thing together for Yom Teruah this year. Oh
mhm,
my goodness, when I tell you it was so vexing. Okay, so I started out because I wanted to do this new platform, and I'm still going to do it. I need
mhm,
another computer, because my computer currently, this is the resolve. My computer doesn't have the capacity to do what I was trying to do, which
mhm,
is so
mhm.
prophetic to this moment. This
Ah,
very is so prophetic to the very hour that we're in, and what the
mhm,
Father is desiring from us. He's saying,
mhm,
you need a greater capacity for where I'm taking you.
mhm, mhm,
Therefore, I'm calling you into a space that requires you to give me more.
mhm, mhm,
It doesn't
mhm,
mean that you're not present. It doesn't mean that you're not here. It just simply means that I'm requiring more,
mhm,
because
mhm,
there's a greater capacity that I have in
mhm,
store. Say something,
mhm.
brother. I got to do something.
Yeah. So so it's interesting because all these voices that are there, all these frequencies that are there, and even when we begin to, as I read Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 12 to 14, you get all this studying and all these different things, reading and understand this. You're actually getting, when you start reading, you begin to catch on to the frequency of the writer. You really do. You begin to get the frequency of the writer, and then that writer, that was being said now is in your head, what's being said. Then you got to begin to decipher so many things. This saying that, that's saying this is saying that, on and 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 on. And then you can say, wow, where is it? I don't hear the voice of Yah. And Yah study calling. He studied calling you. He studied calling you. There's always an announcement to you.
Yes.
Ace. It's an announcement. But it's just interesting because it that was lead, as you begin to read the opening and everything, the great announcement. We are still in the great announcement. And
We are.
so the announcement was made in the midst of chaos.
It was. That's why this is so prophetic. It's like I just want to just run. I'm just so charged right now, because the truth of the matter is, we have to have the right perspective to go into the
Mhm,
right place. If we're going
mhm,
into the
mhm,
right place, our perspective has to mirror. And I posted something on in the room. I hope you guys see this. It says the voice you are mirroring is indicative of your current allegiance. Now,
mhm. Oh
it's
my.
so, let me tell you why it's so serious. Because religion will have you thinking that there's a neutral ground.
Mm.
There is no neutral ground in the earth. You are either on your side or you're not. When listen, when who was this? Joshua, when Joshua said, whose side are you on? He didn't say, he didn't say there are many different sides. He said you're gonna need to choose a side. Even when the conversation was this, okay, I've got light and dark before you, life and death before you. Choose life that you may live. It's only two sides of a coin, but somehow we've been ushered into this idea or this false perspective that uh, there are many avenues. You know what I'm saying? And while people would say, "Oh, I don't believe what was said about that," some prominent figure said many years ago, and I don't have to name the name because y'all have heard it and you know what it is. I don't need to name the name. There have been many people that have said this that are of great stature in the earth and said, "Oh, it's many roads to God," right? But the truth of the matter is this: there is only relationship that is the road. Religion is not the road. And there are many faculties and facets of things that are attempting to mirror or do a knockoff version of what the kingdom represents, but it is not the kingdom. And we're going to give you some ideas about how to be able to decipher because the line is so thin. Here's the truth of the matter. This is why he said, if but for the elect's sake, I'm going to come, because if it were possible, even the elect could be deceived. But see, here's why the elect cannot be deceived. He's saying now this deception is so great that if I let this thing linger long enough, the righteous might say, wait a minute, is everything okay? You understand what I'm saying? But the elect knows the voice of their master. And the way that the elect knows the voice of the master is because they have studied his voice. That means they're in constant communication. They've read the word. They are in prayer. They're asking questions. They're getting responses. They're not just using the Father as a place to get something for themselves from. They are engaging in the relation. It's not transactional for them. It's relational. And there's definitely a difference between transaction and relationship. When I go to the store to buy something and I'm having an interaction with the cashier, that's a transaction. That's not a relationship. But when I go to the Father, that's not a transaction. I'm not going there like, okay, I'm going to give you this, you give me that. No, this is relational. He's already told me what I can have, what I'm slated to have. Listen, we're making them in our likeness and image, and let them have. These things have already been established. The having is not the issue. It's the becoming that's the issue right now. It's the becoming that men are struggling with. And the reason why they're struggling to become, brother, is because there are these voices that are saying something that is in opposition to the kingdom idea of what we should be hearing. The kingdom premises, the kingdom ideologies, the kingdom concepts are being so closely mirrored, but that they're being bastardized, and they sound like something, but the frequency of them is off, because it's like saying AI is trying to mimic my voice. If you know me and you know the passion of who I am and you know the passion of my voice, it doesn't matter how closely a thing can try to emulate my voice. You know the passion of my voice by spirit, not by just hearing. And this is where the adversary is getting so many people, because they're hearing, but they're not listening, like you said. You're hearing things, but you're not listening. You're not being intentional about your listening. You're not being intentional about what you're seeing. You're not being intentional. You're not asking questions. You're not vetting anything. You're just an open sepulcher, receiving whatever is coming your way without any question, without any concern. No, your gates are wide open. And the Bible declares that gates that are wide open is a city that's going to be overtaken. That's a city that's going to be overtaken if your gates are open. We're going to share some more things. We really are. But I think it's amazing that you even said that, because this is so indicative of that in the midst of chaos. And this is how I opened up the broadcast. So to me, it was just, Holy Spirit was just going along with the program. He said, yep, we're going to just go along with the program. It's going to be enough chaos in this space for people that want to stay connected. You see, people will jump off because they're like, oh, that ain't even clear. But it takes me back to this first prophetic word that I gave in a public space. I'm talking about to masses of people, right? To thousands of people in one room. Did not have a microphone. I was on the second row in this auditorium, and the Holy Spirit took over me, and I stood up in this auditorium of thousands of people with no microphone and began to declare the word of the Lord and what it was related to. And it keeps coming back to this for me in this season, brother, and it keeps coming back to this overall. This is where we are. The frequency, the station. I prophesied about the station and about the necessity to tune the dial into the station, because you're hearing all this noise in the process, right? And you're getting all this feedback and all these things. But if you don't turn that dial and make sure that that dial is exactly on that station, you're not going to get the clarity that you're seeking. You're not going to hear the sound that you're desiring or that you need to hear, because it's clouded with the white noise. It's clouded with other frequencies from the other channels and from other stations. It keeps taking us right back to this same place. You got to dial in this season. It's not a time to play around. You got to dial in. We've crossed the line here. We've crossed the space. And now the things are being weighed in the balance. We have crossed the line. Do you hear me? In time, we have crossed the line. And many have crossed the line into a space where they may not be able to return from. And many of us have understood, listen, I need to go further. I need to go higher. I need to be open to move according to what the Father is telling me to move according to right now. Because what happened in the last season is not going to be workable in this season. It worked perfectly last season, but this season is requiring something different in order for there to be success in that season. It takes the wisdom of every season to find the success of every season. You don't just rinse and repeat stuff for the rest of your life. It's a faith to faith, is glory to glory. This is a what do I want to call this? This is a progressive. The kingdom is a progressive moving vehicle. It's moving. Yeah, there are foundational principles, but it is ever moving. And I love that you brought this up, that you said, follow my voice. Follow my voice. Why? Because if you start getting tied up in all of the voices that you hear and you don't utilize your senses to tune out every voice but the one that you need to hear, you're going to be confused. There's going to be things happening all around you, which they are. Things are happening all around us, whether in political world, whether in the religious industrial complex or the political industrial complex. Things are happening every day. And what are they? They're just mere distractions to take us away from what the Father is telling us to do, positioning us to do for this season. Sure, you'll hear about it, but that doesn't mean you have to get wrapped up in it, because it has absolutely nothing to do with the reality of you as a son, besides the fact that it is darkness that you recognize. That means you need to become the light that responds. So the voice you are mirroring right now in this season is indicative of your current allegiance. That's what you're in allegiance to. How you respond, how you act, how you function, that's a mirror of something. And the kingdom has a way, and the world has a way. The world system has a way. The prince of the power of the air has a way. Brother, say something.
Oh my, oh my. I'm trying to figure out which end I'm gonna start at.
Oh my God!
But it's just you know my mind. You know my thoughts. You know how I do, and it's just interesting because just being in a space,
Yes.
and y'all have been dealing with me about this as well, and so even with the announcement just out of chaos. So my mind go back to Genesis chapter 1, going into chapter 2, when on the sixth day of creation, and it said that in the evening and the morning was the sixth day. That means that it came to an end.
Yes.
It came to an end because now the evening and the morning, in order to get to the next day, it's a shift.
Yes,
so it's going to always be chaos.
Yes, sir.
Coming out into something. So there was an announcement made coming out. And the announcement was, he said in the second chapter, He said, and the seventh day, he ended everything, giving us everything, and he blessed the seventh day and set it apart to be what? Holy. He called it holy. Here's
My
the
God.
announcement: to be holy. That's the beginning of an era. That's the
Oh,
beginning.
come
That's
on.
the beginning. We're at the end of this. That was the beginning because we're still in that because the seventh day doesn't have an evening in the morning.
It does not.
It doesn't have an
It
evening
just
in the morning. So
is.
now it just is. But so we understand that something happened because now he's given us appointed times. He's given us
Yes.
appointed seasons and what
Yes.
have you. But
Yes.
but so we look in the garden where he took him and a created man, formed him, and then put him in the garden. He
Yes.
put him in a safe space. But understand this: he put him in a safe space because the voice now he can identify with the voice
There you go.
because he changed. Because now understand this: the sixth day it was chaos. There were a lot of things going on, but he
Hmm.
set him aside, pulled him aside, and said, "Now I'm gonna take you away. Now you're in the midst of chaos. You're in the midst of Eden chaos, but I'm going to put you here so you can hear me directly.
Hmm.
I'm going to take you out of this and put you right here. So when I speak, you know it's me. You know it's me." And it's interesting because then the diabolical force will come in, say, "Hey, I'm going to change." But the only way I can get to that, the change, is to get to the body part, the body of this covering, to
Yes.
get to change the sound, because the
Yes.
sound comes from the head, the
Yes.
frequency, because the head, the sound spoke into the body,
Yes.
so it can identify with what God's saying.
Hmm.
However, and I'm moving right along because it's interesting because I'm going really fast and forging ahead to the children of Israel coming out of Egypt, coming out and going into the wilderness. They was in a space where there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of things in their mind.
Wow.
There's a lot of things in their mind. He said, "But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you kings and priests and king. You're going to be royalty, this and that and the other, and so forth and everything." But they had to, he said, "I'm going to give you these laws. I'm going to give you this. You're going to be successful. All this stuff is going to be going on and what have you." But they had chaos. They had the voice of all the gods of Egypt, all of that just in their mind, that we could, "Oh, you left us out here to starve to death. You left us here to thirst to death. You left out here, we should have went back. And all this rebellion and everything, and just push back, push back, push back, push back, push back, all this." And he said, "No, hear me, hear. You got to hear what I'm saying. I want to get all the sound, the chaos out of your head. You know who I am, but you're dealing with all of this. But I got to make things, I got to move things so that you'll be able to obtain the capacity of what I want to pour into you." He says, "Listen, here's this remnant. Those who were born in, going to get it. A smaller group that came out. So now here's this remnant." So what I'm getting to, there's a remnant that begins to understand the voice, because that remnant that was represented going across, that remnant is the beginning that's going to start to begin the royal journey of king to become kings and priests. That was the beginning. This is what's going to take place, because this is what I want you to do. Here's the thing. Here's the thing, sister. Many people are stuck in a loop. Christians, Hebrews, stuck in a loop.
I know you better not be over there reading my notes. We're going to talk about the loop and keep talking. I dare you.
They're stuck in a loop because Because when Yah gave laws to the priest, the Levitical priest, he gave laws to the congregation. The Levitical priests, they were Levitical priesthood, but they were as royal priesthood. Their life was everything about the frequency of Yah. It didn't change. That did not change from the temple to their household, because he gave them. He said, "This is how you're going to operate. This is how you're going to operate. Congregation. This is how you're going to operate. Why are we operating that way? Because you decided to listen to the voices that when you came out of Egypt and said, oh, wait a minute. We hear the voice of Yah, we're going to die. We're going to die. So they said, listen, give it to Moshe and he'll give it to us. So in other words, they refused the frequency or the voice that will help them to reduce it just to a man, a flesh. So they said, give it to him. So now they're accountable to a man. Even though Moshe was a royal priesthood, we saw some things where he was in his flesh and what have you, but yet he was royalty. But yet they saw him just as a man because they saw him tangible. They saw the mirror, they saw the handiwork of Yah, they saw all of this and what have you, and yet they looked at him, and because of that, the voice, did they hear the voice come out of Moshe? Yes, they did. However, they were still dealing with the voices of Egypt. All of that in their head. And they try to decipher, oh, Yah would say, you know what I've done. You've seen what I've done. And you still trying to decide who you're going to serve?
Wow.
How dare you? You're still trying to decide. So interesting is because when you look at the Levitical priesthood, how he set it up, he said, I'm going to set you aside. And this is what you're going to do. This is your lifestyle. Everything about you is supernatural, immortal. Everything about you is going to be super immortal and not of the congregation. Because the congregation needed all
flesh.
They're flesh.
They're representing flesh still. They ain't crossed over yet.
There you go. Ooh, okay.
I'm going to use you as my priesthood to help them cross over into the supernatural realm that I'm called all of y'all to originally.
And see, so he said that because you got to become this. You got to become this. And so just moving forward to the head, because only the remnant, it's a remnant, because people don't talk about the royal priesthood under the order of Melchizedek. They don't. They still in
the Levitical priesthood.
Come on.
They still call themselves Levites.
They still in the loop in the flesh. Mm-hmm. And then he's going to take the remnant, the son. They say, hey, we've crossed over. Mm-hmm. And it has to have the remnant in order to get them to come across. Mm-hmm. Because people are stuck. They're still in the congregation phase. And it's interesting because we kind of teach that because everything has to come back to immortality. Everything has to come back to everything that we do now has to come to a place of we're operating in immortality at a higher level of frequency to move in this chaotic world where everything that's happening in the universe, in the earth, beneath the waters, all this chaos. Because if we don't become immortal, come back to that space, we're gonna always be in that loop in the flesh on different levels. Yeah. And so he gave us these appointed feasts. He said, but I'm giving you this because these are appointed feasts so you can begin to practice this to come out of that to the congregation. And did he take everything, the laws from the congregation? No. He said, no, I'm going to take you higher. I'm going to take you to another level. I'm going to shift you from just being a congregation, but I'm going to shift you because my prophecy, my word is, I'm going to make you kings and priests. And everything about kings and priests is not kings and priests in the earth. It is kings and priests where I'm at,
That's
who
right.
I am.
It's a kingdom. It's
There
my
it is.
kingdom.
So my kingdom is not earthly. My kingdom is who it is. It's immortal. And the only way
So,
that you don't
so let's clarify. Let's clarify because
go
somebody's
ahead.
mind just went west.
I know it did. Go ahead.
Somebody
Go ahead.
mind just went west. They're thinking, and see, this is where deciphering comes in, and we're gonna talk about the cipher in a minute because it's gonna be really important that you learn how to decipher things in this season. Somebody's saying, if his kingdom is not of this world, then how can the kingdom be on the earth? Because you're here. That's how. Because you're present. His kingdom is not related to the governments of the earth. If you pay attention to how the master functioned and any other son before him functioned as it pertained to the governments of the earth and see the succession of the kingdom or the advancement of the kingdom in those territories, then you will understand that this is more of a breaking that captivity of a mind than anything else. It is a mindset. It has to do with allegiances, which also takes us to that whole mark of the beast conversation, right? A lot of people, well, is it this? Are they going to put it on the hand? Are they going to? No, you're missing the point. You don't know how to decipher anything. These are ciphers. Word was written as a code to sons. And only sons are able to identify. Sure. Well, see, I'm going faster than I want to go. The reality is there are ways to decipher what you're listening to, right? On one hand, when you talk about the religious industry, right? You're talking about people that are just giving you information, but no revelation. So they are taking this information and making it palatable to your ears, making it exciting to your ears. Understand what I'm saying? Information is great, but if it has no revelation, then it is not relevant for sons. It's not relevant to bring conversion or transformation at all. If it's just information, because all you're going to do is like getting excited about the information because you felt some kind of way, you felt tingly or you felt goosebumps or you felt whatever. You can get that at a concert, at a worldly concert. You understand what I'm saying? You can feel all kind of chills and tingles in a whole lot of spaces. But when you understand when you're operating in the spirit, by the spirit of Yah, and you're operating by spirit and not by flesh, when you feel that tingle or you feel that fire, you feel that burn, you know it's an unctioning of the Holy Spirit that makes an announcement that something needs to be done. Now something is about to be done. And that's where we are. It's understanding what is being said, where it's coming from. I put something in the chat down here that when see it's little things, it's little simple things like this, and it comes to bear because you mentioned how they had to behold the man versus beholding the God of the man to make that man's God their God too. You follow what I'm saying? When we see the word I am, often we think, oh, his name is I am. So you got all these people doing all their Hebraic conclusions about the word I am. And, you got the Jews doing their conclusions about the word I am, Hashem, and all of this stuff. The reality is when the Father says I am, the only thing we can define that is agreement. He is. But see, if we look at it as I am, then we start putting ourselves in that position. I am. Instead of saying he is and therefore I am. See, there's a succession here. When he says I am, our acknowledgement, because we're in agreement with the fact that he is that he is. He is all. He is everything. He is that. You understand what I'm saying? Our response is you are, Father. He is. Instead, we look at it as we get stuck in I am versus agreeing with him and saying he is. Yeah, he that. He's all of that. You made another point when you begin to talk about out of and into or unto in King James, right? It's always about coming out of something and into, which takes me back to there is no neutral ground. So wherever you're standing, you're in that because there is no other, you haven't come to no other place. You're in that. But when you get deliverance, when deliverance comes to you, if you're in a space, no matter where you are, and when I say deliverance, I'm not just talking about you need deliverance from smoking, drinking, you're a sex addict. I'm talking about stuff that's in the mind, that's deeply rooted in the minds of men. It's things that we all have to keep coming to these junctures in our life where the Father reveals something. I think you said this earlier, brother, while the thing was going haywire. He'll reveal something, and then we have to say, "Oh, okay, let me address that. Let me come to that place so I can come to the conclusion or the outcome that you've designed for me, Father. Let me come to that, right? Let me realize that." But a lot of times we don't want to recognize it because we only want to see ourselves one way. I call it this romanticizing of who we are, and we haven't yet got there. We're romanticizing, I'm this, that, or the other, and the Father's saying, come up higher. And so we're stuck in where we are, thinking I've already arrived there. And he's saying, no, you got to come up. And we think because he said come up, that means that we haven't done anything or we're not accomplishing. No, it doesn't mean any of that. It means that I want you to come up. It's simple. It's not hard at all. The out of and into is key. Because when it comes to deliverance, I was sharing this with my husband the other day. This is so real. And this is one of those areas where people get really stuck at. Because when they think about deliverance, they think about a one-time situation, right? And so if I got an issue, I need to find somebody that can bring deliverance to me. I'm not saying that the Father won't do it. He's done it over and over again. But here's the reality. And this is not just for the people that are hearing it that need deliverance. This is for people that are deliverers. You are not called to sustain anybody's deliverance as a leader in the kingdom. It's not your responsibility to sustain their deliverance. You can bring deliverance to somebody, but beyond that deliverance that you brought, there is no more that you can do besides tell them, go and sin no more. This is what the master's pattern was. He said, listen, I'm going to bring you out, but you got to decide not to go back in. Because if you decide to walk back through that door, now you've opened up a can of worms. I can't keep you from that. I can only bring deliverance to you if you're desiring the deliverance, but then you have to maintain it. And so this is where people get messed up because they come to a place of deliverance and then they sink back down into this other space. But because there's this missing information in between. Yeah, deliverance came because there was an authority greater than the thing that was on you. But now I'm telling you, you have to become the authority that's greater than that thing that was on you and maintain your status and your sonship, your dominion and your authority over these things that like to bring you into captivity. That means you have to come to some realities. Some realities. Okay, I'm prone to this. Not I'm not prone, not acting like you're not prone. No, I'm prone to this. I'm prone to pornography. I'm prone to masturbation. I'm prone to these things. These are things that keep rearing their heads. I go through seasons where I don't have this issue, and I didn't say I'm prone to it. I'm just giving you suggestions for some of the things, and maybe some of the people that are listening might be prone to these things. This doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm prone to other stuff, okay? I'm prone to these things, and so I have to acknowledge my propensity because I'm in the earth. That these are the things that the adversary challenges me with. If I don't acknowledge the things that the adversary challenges me with, I cannot challenge it. I can't challenge a thing that I never acknowledge that is a challenge to me. I can't overcome the thing that I never acknowledge has overcome me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? If this is making any sense, say so. I can only overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of my testimony. What is my testimony? I have come past that. The blood has made available to me another solution. And so now I am operating by this final sacrifice that has been made. I don't have to live in this captivity anymore. I recognize it as a captivity that wanted to connect to me, that may even be connected to my familial line. However, I am drawing a line in the sand and saying it cannot come past here anymore. No more generations can it continue. I'm stopping it in its tracks. But if we don't acknowledge it, we can't address it. Say something, brother.
Ooh, okay. Oh, oh, my. You see, the deliverance thing it's apostolic. This deliverance,
It
this
is.
is this is something. Because, you know, as you were talking, and you know, there's something that y'all been dealing with about. And I just, you know, a lot of times, you know, we hear that he died and rose with all authority and power that was given to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, as I begin to read more, that he in Eonic John, he talks about what I got, I gave to you.
Period.
And then at one point, and then he said, I think it's I'll give you power to tread over serpents, scorpions,
Tread on
all the
serpents and
and all the
scorpions.
evil,
Yeah.
all evil. He
Yep.
says, now I've given you all of this, but we die, but we don't rise up in victory.
Come
We
on
don't
now.
we did we don't we died, but we still under the sting of death.
Come on.
The sting of death, which is sin. It is breaking of the laws. It's sin. That's the sting of death. He
Mm-hmm.
said, but I've given you this. But we die, but we don't walk in victory.
So what death are we dying then?
Yeah, see, so because people, a lot of people is scared of death, even in the religious complex system, even in the Hebrew communities and what have you, they're afraid of death
Yeah.
because they don't understand death, because they talk about death and life together.
As an end.
And
Yeah.
so you can't talk about both of them, and because you got some, here's an interesting thing. You have some success because there's life, but then it's not sustainable because you bring death in. Disobedience.
Right.
You have success, but not sustainable. This is what we see on before even crossing over. We see so many people are successful but not sustainable. Why?
Why?
Why is it not sustainable? Death.
Mm-hmm.
Death. You know, we talk about this and that and the other. Oh yeah, oh my. But then you see death. Because you got to understand what death is. Death is being disobedient.
Come on, brother. Come on. Because we're going to talk about this
Period.
thing. That's it. Talk about it.
See, we got to, because he said to brother Adam, the fourth man, before you knew his name, he said, listen, do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of righteousness and evil.
Don't do
If
it.
you do, you're going to die. So people are afraid of death without understanding what death is. Because when you walk in disobedience and rebellion, then it opens up, you start dying on every level. You can have success, but when disobedience come in, not following instruction, then all of a sudden, then there is death. Because when they see people sleep, oh, I ain't ready to die. I ain't ready to die, because we don't talk about life enough. We don't talk about life and having victory, because our dissertation, our preaching, our prophetic, everything is mixed with life and death. He said, no, you're going to speak life, period.
Mm-hmm. That's why
But
he said
you got to identify, like you said, I got to identify that there's death.
yeah.
Death in my spirit, death in my soul, death in my body. That means I have to get death out of me wholly, not partially, but wholly.
Come on.
I have to holistically take death out of my spirit, soul, and body.
Yes. That's the order.
You can't have life over here, then there's death over there, and be successful. You cannot sustain being successful on any kind of level that we are in right now. it won't. It wants to stay.
It won't sustain. But
So
it's like
when
you
we talk,
said, they're talking
uh-huh.
about life and death at the same time, but they're not even giving the definition because they don't clearly know the definition that death is a result of flesh. But they're mixing dying to self with the conversation about death. This is what I'm talking about deciphering things. People are taking one phrase or one conversation about a thing from that facet or that perspective and making it something that's across the board. You understand what I'm saying? That is not the definition. When we're talking about taking up your cross and following him, that has something to do with you identifying the thing that is a burden that you say, you know what, I'm not about to let this thing weigh me down. If I got to pick this up and carry it, I'm going. At some point, you're not going to be carrying no cross. You got to understand that. But if you're not able to decipher and understand what it means to take up your cross, the master didn't continue to carry a cross after that thing was put in the ground. I'm sorry, the stake, the tree.
Go ahead, sister.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't continue to carry this thing after he was put on it. After he was brought off of it, he didn't continue to carry it. He only had to carry it to the place where he had to die. And I was just talking about that. That you have to come to a realization of where you are. I'm prone to this. I'm prone to that. This needs to be sacrificed. This is what I got to sacrifice. It might kill me to do it. It might kill me not to eat a whole tub of ice cream. I might feel like it's going to kill me. I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying. I might feel like I'm going to die to not see this TV series. But it depends on what the Father is calling you to and what he's calling you out of. Because once you come out, you got to go into. And he's constantly making that call. But if you're never hearing the call, then that's the result of the death that you're seeing. Until you heed the call that you heard, death is going to be imminent. You're going to continue to see death. I was telling my mother-in-law today, this is what the Holy Spirit was talking to me about yesterday. He said people are dying to go to a heaven that he's going to bring to earth. How crazy is this? How crazy? You dying to go to heaven?
Oh, sister, come
When
on.
he said, I want you to live more abundantly, live life more. Come on now. Something's
Make
wrong with
sense.
this.
Make
Make it
sense of
make
that.
sense. Make it make sense. This is
Dying
no
to get
longer making any
someplace.
sense.
Dying to get someplace, but where is it to be here?
Come on. What? What are we doing?
Um,
What exactly are we doing?
I apologize, everybody.
No, it's laughable. It really is laughable that
Oh
people
my
are
goodness.
dying to go to heaven. I just want to go. I just want to go. I just want to go. Why don't you just want to do your assignment? Why don't you just want to finish the work? Why don't you just want to accomplish the thing that you were put in the earth for? Did you even get to that yet? And I'm telling you, here's the Eonic announcement is that it's not too late for you to accomplish the purpose of your person.
There it is, right there.
That's the thrust of the Eonic announcement. Yeah, there are a lot of different conversations we're going to have in the midst of that, but the thrust of the conversation is that the announcement is you're not too late. If you're hearing this, you're not too late. Do you know that Enoch lived his whole life? He did his entire life. At 64, he was still doing him, but at 65, the word declares he walked with the gods. And Yah took him. He shifted. He shifted. He heard an Eonic announcement and he said, wait a minute, before the eons, this was formulated for me. This was the conversation of Yah concerning me, that I would be so close to him that he would just have to take me out the earth. Because he would need me to manage, be in between dimensions. Now, we still can do that now. We don't have to be taken out of the earth to do that. You do know that when the master came and the finished work was done, he spoiled death, hell. Now what's got to be dealt with? The grave. But that's a mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm absent from the body, but I'm present.
Listen, that has nothing to do with death of your physical body.
No,
It
no.
has something to do. I'm glad you said it. It has something to do and everything to do with you transitioning in your mind, being transformed and being renewed in the spirit of your mind to understand that yes, I live in a physical, I'm physically in a space, but my citizenship is in another space. And if I operate from the citizenship that I have been given, then how I live on this earth is going to be completely different than how other people are living. I can't live the way that they live and respond the way that they respond. Look in there, in the thing, in the jewel thing. I can't respond the way they respond and then hope to get different results. How am I going to get different results doing what they do? It's the thing that the Father, it's one of the keys. The Father kept saying, listen, don't do what they do. Don't serve me the way that they serve their God. I don't want that. I'm not that guy. I'm not him. Don't give me that. That would be like somebody being in intimate relationship or being married to somebody and trying to give them or function in the way that they function with all their other mates, with all the other people they slept with. Now you trying to come into this relationship and give me the same stuff you gave her. I don't want that. That might have worked for you and them, but that ain't working for me.
In the name of Yeshua.
Listen, I'm a whole nother cat. I'm a whole nother person, and you trying to give me what you gave somebody else because it worked for you. It made you feel okay. But have you identified what makes me feel okay? Have you identified what intimacy is that works for us? You understand what I'm saying? And this is the thing that the Father is calling for. He's saying, listen, have you identified what makes me move? Have you identified what moves me? Not what moves you. Have you identified what moves me? Because when I move, you move just like that. I couldn't help it. When I move, you move just like that. I couldn't help it. It came right out just naturally. When I move, that's how you move.
Mm-hmm.
But only after I move. Now, today, people still don't acknowledge. They still acknowledge all of these other holidays, bro. I'm still baffled. When I tell you I'm still baffled at all the understanding and all the clarity and all the revelation that we have and all the information that we have about all of these things about life, mankind still beholds to all of these things, but ignores the thing that the Father said, this is important to me. I'm only asking, he said, oh, I'm only asking for 3 times out the year that these are important, plus the Sabbaths, and 1 day a week. That's all I want. Can you give me that? 1 day out of the week. We know every day belongs to him. But he's saying specifically, I want intimacy. See, this is where it's messed up at. Because no longer do we understand intimacy. You know why intimacy is not understood? Because perversion has been the conversion of mankind. They've been converted by perversion, and now we don't even understand intimacy no more. We don't understand intimacy because all we understand is what makes us feel. And sometimes what intimacy looks like is something that makes the other person feel. That's how intimacy works. The Father says, come up here, and I don't say, ooh, I'm so tired. No, intimacy says, whatever you need. I'm about to get up right now. When I tell you years ago, he taught me how to even overcome sleep. He taught me how to overcome sleep. See, he don't never, and this takes me to another thing. He don't never ask us for something that he hasn't given us an example of or some kind of experiential knowledge of. That's what experiential knowledge. Understand? A lot of times people saying, oh, he asking me to do something I don't know how to do. That's a lie. He's not asking you for something that you don't know how to do. He showed me how to overcome sleep, how to take charge over my sleep to respond to his voice no matter what time of day it was or night. This was many years ago. I had no idea all the things he was going to usher me into at a later date. But because I was able to bring sleep under subjection in that season, I could go on to have prayer at whatever time he decided it was going to be. While other people was like, ooh, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, what about it? You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a decision. And let me prove to you that the Father does this. He never asks for something. He never puts something on us, because they'll know, like a lot of people like to say, well, we ain't got no handbook for that. Well, we don't have there's no manual for that's a lie. It is. You just been ignoring the manual the whole time. Look at what he does. He wants to make Adam a husbandman. Only part we know about, only thing that we focus in on is the husband part, right? Okay, so let's say he wants to make Adam a husband, right? So he first makes him a husbandman. He asked me yesterday, he said, why do you think I gave Adam the garden before I gave him the woman? He said, because I wanted him to have experiential knowledge of what I wanted him to do as a husband. So guess what? Every man that's listening to the sound of my voice, you've been given experiential knowledge of what the Father wants you to do as a husband, because you worked somewhere. You have some kind of call and some kind of gift, and the same amount of energy you give to that to make that happen is what is required to make the husband part happen too. You already have experiential knowledge of what it means to be a husband. You can't say I've never been one, so I don't know what's expected of me. How did you get trained to work? What do you work on? How did he train you? How did he teach you? How did you learn? First, you had a desire. Hello? If you don't have desire, you don't learn anything. You never learn something you don't desire to know. But if you desire to know it, there's a saying in the world that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Right? Experiential knowledge is what you've been gaining all of this time to be whatever it is you've been called to be. That's why a lot of times even our calling mirrors our anointings or our giftings in other areas of our life, because we are using the things that we've been trained in to express, to allow the expression of Yah to be made clear to the people. So like if I was a train conductor, I would be using, although I do use all kinds of examples, I would use train conducting ideas and concepts to help convey to you the message of the kingdom. That's all your experiential knowledge is about. It's an opportunity. It's a vehicle that helps you express or explain or reveal the kingdom to people. Are you listening? Brother, come on, say something.
Oh,
you know what I want to go back to before you say something? This is what I want to go back to. I want to go back to the Eonic Announcement, the trumpet. I want to go back to that for a minute. Let's go back to the trumpet, to the blast. Because in Leviticus chapter 23 and in many other places in the scripture, it talks about the 7th month, the first day, and this trumpet blast, right? This sound, this resounding, this announcement. But we need to identify what the announcement is about, right? And we can identify, we'll go there. Let's go to Leviticus 23 real quick. We'll go there. I want you to see this. But then I want to give you the dimensions of the blast for 6785. I want to give you the dimensions. There's 3 dimensions that I need to give you for you to understand the blast this year. What you should be taking from this blast this year. Okay? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month and the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation. Now I want to go somewhere real quick. Let me pull this up real quick because I want you to see this word. It's Yom Teruah. But what is this sound all about? I want you to see some of the dimensions of what the definition of this blast is about. Let me pull it up for you real quick, because I had a bunch of things that I don't have in front of me right now, but I'm going to get to it. The Holy Spirit is going to remind me of all of these things. Okay. Speak unto the children of Israel. Here we go. I'm going to go to trumpets, okay? Because we want to clarify, and this is where we miss a lot of things. Not only are you not reading, but you're not clarifying. Not only, and if you are reading and you're trying to do you say you're trying to do the work. Here's the reality. If your words oppose your study, if you say I can't, even the world understands this. I think it was Henry Ford that says the man that says he can't is right, just like the man that says he can. It's true. If you say you can't, you can't. If you say you can, you can. Why? Because that's how the Father made you. Teruah, which is where we are right now, is this blast. It's an alarm. It is, in this case for Teruah, it is a blast that is a sound for remembrance. It is a blast that is a sound of alarm. I want to deal with alarm for a moment, because what's the first alarm? The first alarm is that the Father called this. I did not. He called this. And if he calls this, then that place, even if it's a place of rejoicing, a joyful place, whatever it is, whatever these trumpets are producing, it is also a terror to darkness. Because anytime I am in proximity to him, I am becoming something. And these are the things that a lot of people are missing all of the time. When the Father makes these clarion calls, he's calling us to a place so that we continue to see him and therefore become what we need to become, so that we can live from the right perspective, heaven on earth. That was what he did. Did he not put the garden in the earth? He put the garden in the earth, y'all. He put it in the earth. He didn't put it in the heavenlies. He put it on earth. Put the man in the garden and walked with him in the cool of the day. That means they had relationship, not transaction. In the earth. Which Revelation says is going to happen all over again. The New Jerusalem will be coming down out of heaven and make its abode on the earth, and the Father will make his abode with us. Why are we dying to go to heaven when he's bringing it here? And when he's already told us that we have a right to live because we're in the kingdom of heaven, then we have a right as a citizen of heaven to live that life even while we're here. Do you know there's so many things that used to bother me in another season that now don't even bother me anymore, just because I've wrapped my head around the identity of my citizenship? If you're not operating from that citizenship, then you're living beneath your privilege. It's not about your halves. If I don't have this, if I don't have it. Listen, if you're not living according to the citizenship of heaven and you call yourself a son, you are living beneath your privilege. It's before you have any physical, tangible thing, that is a necessity. Because the seek first is the kingdom, his kingdom. How do I live in that? See, we read that and we say it, but we're not deciphering what he's saying. Man, I want to go into so many things, but I don't want to hold y'all all night with this. But the reality is we're going to have to continue it even into atonement, because it's so many things that need to be said. I think tonight it was more so about us seeing the chaos and understanding that chaos, what that chaos represents, and how we have to be able to hear amidst the noise and persevere and push through regardless of what the objections are. This blast is important. And so when we start talking about the importance of this blast and how it's a blast that puts us in a position of response. Here's one of the verses that came up when I was thinking about this. Hold on. I'm about to pull it up now. Thank you, Holy Spirit. This verse right here. Oh, I got it in my notes now. The notes came back up. Hold on. I'm pulling it back up. This thing blew my mind, brother. Absolutely blew my mind. We're going to put up some oh, is it there? Oh, it didn't save my passages. Okay, that's fine. I'm about to pull it up. Say something while I pull it up, brother.
Says I'm gonna wait for you to pull it up because I'm full.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Amos chapter 3. I got it. I got it. I want y'all to hear this. I want you to hear this. This is so important. I'm going to pull it up so I can give you the definitions if I need to define a word, okay? Amos chapter 3 is where we are. Verse 8. We probably will go above or below that, but let's go there. Amos chapter 3. I want you to see this. This is where people that say they are believers are missing it. Because they're in the industry of religion and don't even know it. They might say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. There's no neutral ground. You're in the religious industry if you are in opposition to this. And many other verses, but I'm just going to give you this one. Can two walk together? I'm going to start at verse 3. Except they be agreed. You remember what I told you when he says, I am, what's your response? Somebody put it in the chat if you're in the chat. What's the response? When he says, I am, what's our response to I am? He is. Correct? We're in agreement. But if I don't agree and I just allow the conversation to be on his end, I am, and we never say he is, then we never come into alignment and agreement. The word says this. Will a lion roar in the forest when he has no prey? This ain't the one I'm looking for, but listen at this. That was it was intentional by the Spirit that he took me here. Will a lion roar in the forest when he hath no prey? Will a young lion cry out of his den if he have taken nothing? Can a bird fall in a snare upon the earth where no gin is for him? Shall one take up a snare from the earth and have taken nothing at all? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Listen, it means you have to have a response. You got to have a response. Here's where I'm going. I was going a little further down. Surely, I'm skipping a couple verses. You can read those others. Surely Yah will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. The but is a translational situation. The conversation is this. The Father says, I don't do anything except I first reveal to my serving prophets, the prophets that serve me, my secrets. Then it goes on to say, the lion hath roared. Who will not fear? Yah hath spoken. Who can but prophesy? Are you listening? If he's speaking, how will you not be in reverence of what he's saying? How can you not revere what he's saying? But this goes back to your allegiance issue. What you mirror is where your allegiance is. So if your mirror is different than the divine mirror of heaven, then you're not in allegiance to heaven. Therefore, when heaven begins to speak, you behave like the children of Israel. Hey, we're about to die. Somebody else talk to him for us, because this is going to kill me. Yeah, it's going to kill you, but you don't want to die. It's meant to kill everything you know about how things work, but you don't want to die to that because you want to stay in the familiar place that makes you comfortable. It's the place where you call the shots. But if you understand that this is a progressive covenant, then you understand that things are consistently moving. Even the throne moves. You know, the wheel in the middle of the wheel, we read about that. We talk about it. We got songs about it that we sung as kids, but something is missing. We're not decoding the cipher. Movement is a part of the relationship. You started talking about this. I make them follow my voice, and I'm moving, and the other things are moving closer, but my voice might be moving further away. What is that about? What does that look like when we talk about spirituality? Is what that speaks to is that I need to follow your voice in order to hear your voice. I need to follow it. If I'm just standing still and I'm letting all these other things come to me and I'm not canceling those things by moving past them to get to the voice that I'm supposed to hear, then I'm going to be inundated with all these voices that sound similar, sound important, they sound priority, but they're not. So look at this. I want you to see this. I want you to see this. There's some dimensions to this trumpet blast in this season. Let's look at it. The first dimension is the indestructible mission. The mission is not impossible. This is an indestructible mission. If you understand that this is an indestructible mission, then you don't mind going on the mission. Here's the thing. Hear the sound. The mission of the sons of the Eon cannot be destroyed by external darkness. We talked about this already. I just want to bring it back up to you because the reality is that there's no adversary, no principality, no pestilence in the air can undo what the Father has already decreed concerning you. The Father's word is eternal. As a matter of fact, if you miss it, it'll bypass you to go to somebody else in your generation because that's how important it is to him for it to come through your bloodline. His word is eternal. His purpose is unshakable. And the trumpet declares what heaven has written cannot be erased. It's an indestructible mission. All you have to do is come into agreement. When he says, I am, you say, he is. I agree. Second dimension, the danger of internal darkness. Now, here is the reality. We talked about it a little bit, but I keep coming back to it because this is unavoidable. You got to understand this. In order to get to that place where you're able to have heaven on earth, you have to first realize that you've been living a hellish life. And that's something that most people don't want to recognize that. Because they want to believe that how they're living is acceptable and okay. But if it was acceptable and okay, look at your results. When I got to the point where I was done having feelings about all these different things, and I was done letting all these things move me, it wasn't a whole bunch of stuff. I'm sensitive about relational stuff. I'm sensitive about stuff in that realm. The enemy know how to get to me. He knows I'm sensitive about certain things, right? But when I got to the place where I didn't care anymore, because my thoughts were, listen, the kingdom has come. Whatever is. This is what it is for me. It's the kingdom. So I'm not getting ready to wrap myself around anything regarding things that are going to make me be in another space. Because my first allegiance is to my Father. And if my first allegiance is to my Father, if I'm in that relationship and I'm intimate there, then I'm creating my environment that I want to live in. Anything outside of that environment is going to either adjust or be abolished. It's just what it is. And this is how relationships have worked for me. This is how it's worked. Anytime I got in those spaces and I didn't, and that they wasn't aligning, I recognized, okay, I done it again. This ain't aligning with your will. This is taking me out of the space I need to be in. This is not aligning with your will. This is not complying with your will. Okay. It's just what it is. So the danger of internal darkness is serious. Though no force outside can overthrow the mission, understand this. It's only the darkness within that is able to abort a heavenly mission concerning you. It's nothing outside of you that can destroy this. It's the darkness that you allow to be resident. The resident evil. That's the problem. It's not what's outside of you. It's the resident evil that's dealing in you that is preventing you from identifying what the Father's desire is concerning what he's saying. So it's ignorance. And I put it in a phrase where it's ignorance. That means you're ignoring something. Slumber. That means you sleeping on what he's saying. It's not just you in the bed sleep. No. See, again, you got to be able to decipher what heaven is saying. If you only deal on surface, if you only deal on the surface, then you'll never get to the deep of the thing and understand the why, the what, the where, the how. All of these things are important in the kingdom because all of these things position you to carry out the mission, right? So after the ignorance and the slumber, sleeping on what he's saying, it's the refusal to discern or the refusal to cipher what heaven is putting before you. These are the things that cause the son to walk as though no mission was ever given. So as people just walk around like they don't have a mission, I never received a mission. And you'll hear people say, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, you've been told. You just ignored the mission. You sleeping on it. You refuse to discern it. It's other things that have priority in your life. But what you don't understand is that if this doesn't become priority, then the other things that you desire, just like I was talking about this these graphics. He gives me this because it speaks something to people. I would just get on and just talk to y'all, but y'all need to see something in order to even be drawn in. So he gives me prophetically what the conversation is to put before people so that they can see something is presented to them that brings them into a space to hear it. It's okay. It's what it is, right? But I cannot be so concerned about the presentation that I don't give attention to the conversation. Hey, are you hearing what I'm saying? These are the things that create those places of ignorance or slumber or refusal to discern. I can get so stuck on this thing that the Father's calling me to come have a conversation about something. I'm like, I got to finish these graphics first. I got to finish the graphics, Father. Now, he already gave me the graphics. Now I want to go further and I want to put it in a different light. I want to create a situation, an environment for the people. And he's saying, listen, I need you to come away with me. I need you to. And so I got kind of caught up for a second because I was trying to shut things off and trying to make it do what I wanted it to do. But I didn't. Y'all saw I got to the point at the beginning of the broadcast. I just erased all of it. Just get rid of it. This is where he wants us to be. If this is what's causing you or preventing you from getting to me, if this is what's preventing you from hearing me in this moment and moving according to what I'm saying, then you got to shut this down. You got to shut this down. You got to be willing to shut it all down to get to me, if that's necessary. If it's something that's blocking you from hearing me, you got to be willing to say, hey, I was telling somebody I love earlier, I have a friendship. This girl is my sister. We love each other. She's my sister. But in another season, I said, listen, I got to shut this down for a minute because there's some things you operate in, some ways you function. I don't need that to be an influence to me for me to think that any of that is okay. I'm moving out of a situation and I don't need to have this in my face all the time, making me make exceptions. So I love you, you my sister, but I got to cut you off for a season because I need to get myself together. It hurt her feelings, but the more she sat with that thing over time, she understood. First of all, that's my sister. I love her. I did not, she didn't say anything to hurt my feelings. I know her by the Spirit. So I miss her, but she had to do what she had to do. When we got back together, she was like, I got a revelation of what you said to me. But it's because I was willing to shut down a relationship that not only was I able to reposition myself, but it also pulled her up to another dimension. But we aren't willing to do these kind of things. We're trying to spare people's feelings and spare people's emotions. And we want people to see us as the good guy all the time. And we don't want to look like the bad guy. But sometimes, listen, you're going to look like the bad guy in this season because you're going to say what the Father is saying. And people are not going to want to hear that. Because they want to do it their way, the way that's been unsuccessful, the way that's not yielding any results, the way that is fruitless. Because it's familiar. So listen, that's the second conversation. The mission is not lost. It's just being ignored. Now you gotta hear this trumpet in this season and say, he said I am, I'm saying he is. I want to hear what he's saying and I want to move according to what he's telling me to do. Not just doing stuff because we think, see, here's the other part that he was talking to me about, brother. This obligatory mindset, I do this out of obligation. It happens in relationships on an intimate level, and it happens in relationship with the Father. But that's our first. See, if we don't have that right, then it don't go right in the other spaces. Because I'm not doing anything out of obligation to the Father. I'm doing what I'm doing right now out of love. I love him. Therefore, I'm following the instruction that he gave me. This is not obligation. This is not obligatory relationship. And when you start acting out of obligation versus relationship and love in the relationship, then that's works-based. But when it's love-based, the works come out of the love, and that's different. There's going to be works because faith has to, connect with works. But it's not works first, then faith. Faith is not faith in your works to get to a place. It's faith that works. Are you understanding? So the mission is not lost. It's been ignored. You need to stop ignoring it. The trumpet pierces in this moment to warn you that it is not the noise outside of you, but the noise inside of you. The blindness that's within that's aborting your destiny. Here's the third dimension. I know I said that quick and I moved on. Here's the third dimension. The call of the Eon. You've got to arise as sons and daughters. You were born in the exact timing with purpose encoded in your breath. This is the Feast of Trumpets. It's not a ritual, it's a revelation. This is not a ceremony. This is a time of summons. And heaven is calling you into the eternal conversation where this sound separates you from the noise, where the cipher breaks your ignorance, where it breaks your ignorance, and where destiny is executed in its appointed hour. See, these things are strategically planned. The trumpet sounds to awaken, to align, and to advance the sons. Okay, now say something, brother.
Really?
Really? Is that what you want to do? Okay.
There's
That's what you
nothing
want to do?
that I can say after all of that is, just it is what it because of who he is. I am.
That's it. He is.
And the fact that you took us on a journey from ciphering out of man, the number of man is six, into the ciphering the number seven, the
Yeah.
number of Yah. And so, because as long as we're ciphering out of six, the number of man, the kingdom of the world, what have you, no matter religiously or what have you, mixture, what have you, um, we won't be sustainable. And you're bringing us out from the journey of ciphering and going into the ciphering of Yah, number seven. And this is the exciting thing about it because it's new to a lot of people ciphering out of the number seven out of God because that's eternal. It's
Mhm.
just no end to it. And so because we're so used to being ciphering things out of the number of man, 666, all
Mhm.
those things. So
Mhm.
it just uh, I'm excited and the journey that you took us on and ready for some more. So that's all
Yeah.
I got to say.
You said that's all I got to say at this moment. At this moment. Okay.
At this moment, right, right,
At
right,
this moment. I'm gonna have some more to say in a minute.
right.
I've got some verses that I want to share with you guys that are foundational too, but I want to take you to, let's go into a deeper understanding of what these things are, right? When we start talking about a cipher, oh, we got rid of my definition on that too. That is so crazy. When we start talking about a cipher, we're talking about things that are coded, encoded. They are strategically hidden. Okay. What is a cipher? It is something that is put into a secret encoding situation. It's a message that's secretly written. Let's say that. Okay. It's something that is disguised. It's writing or code. The code is the disguise of a thing. Man, I was reading, I'm trying to remember who I was reading the other day. I think it might have been, I know what it was. I think it might have been Jeremiah. I'm look up Shishak real quick. We're going to continue this conversation even into atonement because this is so, when I tell you this is so important, this is so important. Like, you can't go into the new year without knowing this to make the transition in your mind to see this transformation. It cannot be business as usual. If you don't know this and you go into Passover 67 85, I mean 67 66, you're in trouble. We're in 67 85 right now as far as the time from the garden till now. But as brother is saying, it's something that happens when you step over. I told you cross the line. When you step over into the eternal dimensions, then everything is complete. You start stepping into complete things, right? Everything is in alignment with the completion of things. You're acknowledging that this is the journey that we're on. But again, you're living out of your citizenship, your divine citizenship, not just your earth residence. Okay. I think it's in Jeremiah chapter 25 and in Jeremiah 51. There's this conversation about Shishak. Now, why this is important is because we're talking about ciphers, and we're going to go further into that, because when you start talking about ciphers, you got to deal with algorithms and codes and all of these different things that a lot of people don't understand and take great pleasure in saying, I don't understand none of this technology stuff. Let me tell you something. You need to get a greater understanding of some things, because it's going to help you identify in an even greater way to decode the things that you're reading. Now, everything can't be decoded the same way. I think I was talking to you about this, brother, how major prophets used to send people that they would think were under them to ask me how I was, identifying these numbers and doing all this stuff, right? But it was the code, it was the cipher that he was giving me the code to. I was able to decipher these ciphers because of the relationship, and everything is not the same, right? Everything is not done the same. And this is why it's a danger to get stuck in a space, because if you can only, I had one of my exes used to say this, my ex-handler used to say this all the time. Y'all know how to talk to me. So like, if it's not said in a way that you feel like he should know that he should talk, then you won't hear. That's confusing, because he's not always going to speak to us the same way and through the same things, let alone the same people. So we got to be able to bypass personalities and all kinds of stuff to get to his voice. You understand what I'm saying? So if you can only hear one way, then we're in trouble. He uses the dream to talk to us. He uses people to talk to us. He uses nature. He uses everything that he can get his hands on to communicate the divine destiny of a son. But if we can only hear one way, we're at a disadvantage. You know why we're at a disadvantage? It brought me to this phrase that people use. They use often, especially in the religious industrial complex. Any way you bless me, I'll be satisfied. On the surface, that sounds like something honorable. But the reality is, because you don't see yourself worthy of what he's deemed you worthy of, you want to take whatever he gives you. Did you hear that, brother?
Yes. Yes, I did.
It's because you don't see yourself worthy of being able to ask him for something, because you know you haven't put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
Everything with you has been transactional. So now it's a any way you bless me situation, when you could just say, this is what I'm asking for.
Mm-hmm.
This is my desire. But see, because you have never aligned your desire with his desire, then your desires is way out in left field somewhere. And it takes us all the way over to, what is that? 1 John chapter 4. Because if you only want to consume it on your own lust, then what's the purpose of giving it to you? If I'm not giving you something that I can be glorified from, why am I giving it? Why do you want me to give this to you? For what purpose do you need this? Right? So a lot of times people are saying the bare minimum of things because they don't feel worthy to ask for anything, because they know they haven't put in the time. They haven't done the work. So now I feel stupid asking for something because I haven't done any work that says that this is a fair exchange. Did you hear that? A fair exchange is when not only you're giving and I'm receiving, but when I'm giving and you're receiving. But if we don't come to that, then we got a problem, right? Okay, so it jacked up my definition of cipher. But cipher also, when you look at the word cipher, when you look at the word mysterion, it's the same thing. The decoding of mystery, or a thing that's hidden. And what do we start with? The conversation in Amos, that the Father wants to reveal his secrets. Matthew said this, Matthew chapter 24:15, it says, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, notice that it says see. So see, this kind of getting ready to take us into some other areas where we talk about, the rapture and all those other things that people are, declaring that are not what they're declaring. He says, when ye therefore shall see. Who is he talking to? He's talking to his disciples. That means this thing is cyclical. Not only did it happen in their time, but it's going to happen in our time. And this is the code. This is something we have to decipher, so we'll know when we see it. Okay? Because he also said to them, I told you something ahead of time so that when you see it, you won't be surprised. This is why I told you this, so that when it comes, you'll know that I told you this already, so you're not shocked by it. But he said, listen, when you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, in other words, the Father gave this to somebody that wasn't even going to see this. He said, when you see this abomination of desolation, stand in the holy place. This is the thing that is so powerful to me. Whoso readeth, let him understand. All throughout the Bible, we are seeing people that are being given access to the supernatural realms. And understand, people are looking to access these things. Even worldly people are looking to access these things because they know innately, inherently, that this is something I'm supposed to access, but they're going about it the wrong way. That's just all. And then you got the flip side of that coin, which people think everything is neutral. So the adversary got a whole running gag going. Either you don't believe that he exists, or you believe that he exists and you fooling with him and you think that it's something other than what it is. You think that this is okay. And I was listening to some this thing that earlier came across it on my YouTube, in my YouTube feed, and these women are witches, they're black witches, and they are up in arms about people feeling some kind of way about them being witches, and they feel like we're following our ancestral path, and that ancestral path is why we're still at the bottom of the totem pole, because as a chosen people, he has been consistently saying, y'all need to come to me, and we're consistently going somewhere else. So when we start looking at that in light of all the things that we're still dealing with in society, whose fault is it? Oh, I know that was low, right? That's a low blow coming from somebody that's your own kind. It's your fault. Because until you decide you want to make him the Father your choice and abide by what he's saying do, until you decide that no other God is above him, until you decide to serve him instead of all the things that you serve, then you're going to continue to be in this cycle. It was written. We saw it. Historically, we have seen it. Not just in slavery days. Let's go back to the Bible days. It's still the same pattern. Whenever Israel decided they wanted to serve other gods, they were put in captivity. It's what it is. When you look at third world countries and all this stuff that's going on with the famine, the blasting, the pestilence, all that stuff, it's written in the scripture that the reason for these things are the fact that people have turned their back on the God that bore them. When you turn your back on the God that brought you, that bought you, then what do you think the outcome is going to be? You're going to be turned over to the gods that you desire to serve, and they are only going to misuse you. They're only going to abuse you, but we think that if we say a little bit of something that feels right or sounds right, then it is right, and it's wrong, because the foundation is where you started, brother. When all the chaos was breaking out, you brought up a scripture that I give every young person. Here is the duty of man. The whole duty of man is this. And until we do the duty of man, which is to fear Yah, until we do the first duty, then ain't nothing else going to be done. That's the priority. What you have to say, brother? That's Ecclesiastes chapter 12, 13. Whole duty of man. Fear Yah and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty. And it's the duty that we don't do. But we complain about everything and everybody, and we're not looking at ourselves. We're not looking at ourselves. These people serving their God, the God of hatred, the God of bigotry, the God of everything that they serve, and we mad because they serving their God successfully, and we feel like we under their thumb, but we're only under their thumb because we're not living under the righteous rule of the government that we say we're a part of. It goes the same for sickness, disease, everything else. Until we decide that we're going to live under the righteous rule of the system that we say we're a part of, then we're going to have these issues. And what are the issues for? To bring us back to him. That's what it's for. It's to bring us back to him. So we look at stuff and say, well, when that which is perfect has come, well, what does that mean? When you get the revelation, when the light bulb goes off, when you open yourself and understand, I don't know what I should know, but I want to know. And the Father says, well, here you go. He said, then when that which is perfect is come, then that which is imperfect will be done away. When does it come? How do we know it's arrived? When we take on the responsibility to desire it and then to maintain it. That's when we desire it and we say, you know what, I've been doing this way. This is the result I'm getting. There's got to be another way. You know, mankind is so prideful that we will be going in the wrong direction and not say there's got to be another way to get there. How do you go in the wrong direction, never arrive at a location, and never say there's another way? I'm going the wrong way. Make it make sense. It's a running gag about men. I've heard it since I was a kid, that a man could be going in the wrong direction and be like, I got it. But the GPS said, go this way. I got it. You all under the water, y'all gurgling and everything. Babe, I think we went the wrong way. I'm on route to the right place. Okay? We can't be so bullheaded that we don't understand that if we have not arrived at a destination that he has declared and that he's revealed even. That's the thing. Not only did he declare it, but he's revealing it and has revealed it. Check this out. One of the things he started out with when he was talking to me about the cipher, he said, if I have ever shown you anything beyond or beneath a thing which exists, then that person has been, as a person, you've been invited into the Sephirotic dimension. Y'all know I all these words. The Cipher, the Sephirotic dimension. You've been invited into the place of decoding things if you've ever seen beyond or beneath a thing that already exists. If there was visibly one thing on the surface, but you were able to see the thing that was hidden, that was a Sephirotic dimension. You were given a divine ability to see the unseen, to know that which was physically unknown. And I'm not talking about your spidey senses or of suspicion, but I'm talking about genuine knowing that which was verifiable, that would have never been known otherwise. Here, in other words, it's not that of the populace opinion. So what they're looking at is what's on the surface. It's not that which is circulating in the general airwaves. Okay? Because there are people who have no intelligent desire to know the unknown and they've fallen in love with the diabolic captors. And this is strange. But for many, even those who are dabbling in wicked realms are in search of supernatural and know that they are rightfully accessible to mankind. And they are. But they're dabbling in a thing that they don't know. So why is this a conversation for the masses? Because from the beginning, Abba decided his relationship with all of his creation. He decided it then. Y'all know I call us the crown of his creation. He decided from the beginning, and all of the re-beginnings, because I'm sure we only know about one particularly that was written. But if we understand that things are cyclical, then we can cipher that there have been many beginnings beyond Job. We know that from Job till Genesis, that was a re-beginning because Job is the oldest book in the Bible. Are you hearing what I'm saying? That's deciphering. Okay? So this is a conversation for the masses because the Father decided that from the beginning of creation, he decided how he was going to deal with us. Okay? So if you look at the dynamics about the Father's relationship with man, then you'll begin to see a pattern. And what you'll notice is that ciphers are all about patterns and keys and codes and algorithms, and a pattern of the Father allowing men into seeing and knowing dimensions other than the way they were presented or other than the place they were physically in. That's a pattern. Why would you settle as a son for just what you see when the Father has allowed these dimensions to be accessible, and darkness is accessing dimensions just like with no acknowledgement of him, they're accessing dimensions. But you wouldn't, with the acknowledgement, access those dimensions so that you can know what you need to know to function properly divinely in the earth. How do you think people like Stephen and other of the apostles were able to deal how they dealt? Even the master did this in his in the sacrifice that he was made, the sacrifice that they made of him. His eyes were focused on one thing. When you think about Stephen, they were literally biting Stephen. The words that they were gnashing them with their teeth. They were gnashing him with their teeth. Stephen said, I commend my spirit into your hands. In other words, I'm not even here no more. My physical body is here. I know what they're doing, but I have translated my focus from this earth to the heavenly realm. So I don't even know what they think they're doing to me, but I'm not affected like that. They tried to burn John in hot oil, and he wouldn't burn. He wouldn't die. They put the 3 Hebrew boys in a fiery furnace. I'm telling you that there are some things that you have not yet deciphered about what you're being called into and about what you say you want to do relationally as it pertains to the Father. This is important. Why? Because there are always ideas and concepts that are meant not only to usher us, but to keep us in common loops. I told you, you said this earlier, and I already had some notes about this, to keep us in common loops of subjugation to that which is flesh, corruptible, temporal, rather than receiving and maintaining the lifestyle of ordination of those things wholly inherited of the Spirit of Yah, eternal and incorruptible. Brother, I believe we've entered into the hour of the 2 witnesses. I really do. The kingdom of Yah has, over the last century or better, been silenced by all the knockoffs of the religious industry. The religious industrial complexes have many sects, divisions, and denominations, and I don't have to name names of movements and ministries or personalities, because as I'm saying it, they are coming to your mind. And the reason they're coming to your mind is for you to interrogate the origin of the thing. Just like you interrogate the origin of thoughts, or you should. That's what the Bible tells us to do. Bring into captivity every thought. So you got to be able to identify the origins of things, not just accept because it looks close to something. You got to interrogate the origin of these thoughts that are coming to your mind when I name or leave nameless these movements, ministries, and personalities. And you got to be able to dissect through holy forensics to know what lines up or not with the kingdom of Yah. What lines up and what doesn't. These are discerning times. And you must understand that there is no neutral ground. I know I've said it several times, but I'm going to say it again. You are either in or you're out of the kingdom. You're either operating by Yah's spirit or you're operating by another spirit. There are no baby adversaries. This is a spiritual conveyance. And when you understand ciphers, you can better understand the deeper meaning, not the surface of what's being said by the way of the Spirit of Yah. You can understand the deeper meaning. And if I go back to that, I have to go back to that dream that I shared, right? So somebody would say, well, if there are no diabolic babies, and you had this dream about diabolic babies that you were throwing down, what did I tell you? You have to be able to decipher. You have to be able to decode. You have to have the keys to be able to identify what the discussion is about. So what are the babies? The babies are these concepts and these ideas, because these things are spiritually conveyed. So if these things are being birthed and I'm taking the birthing of the idea or the concept, which is what my authority is as an apostle, and throwing them down, I'm trampling them, I'm stepping on them, I'm telling you this is trash, then you have to come either into agreement or you're out of agreement with what is being said. That's the diabolic babies being thrown down. In this hour, we've been rehearsing for years this day. Anybody that's been doing the feast days, brother, has been rehearsing this for years. But there's a revival. I'm not talking about y'all church revivals. That ain't what I'm talking about. There's a revival. There's a resurrection of sons in this hour. As the 2 witnesses in the street have been killed and their bodies left without the respective burial, so it is with the sons of Yah's kingdom. We've been identified long ago. We were talking about this the other day, brother. There are people that have identified. There are people that have watched us from afar. They have even taken some of the things, I'm sure, that we have declared because they did not have a voice of their own. Can you hear me, brother? Where are you?
I'm right
Okay, there
here.
you go. I couldn't find the window no more. I couldn't find the window. Oh, there it is. Okay. But the truth of the matter is, their job in that season was to identify and to, what's the word I want to use here? Contain. So, instead of being as John was in the wilderness, declaring or being that catalyst to bring the voices of Yah to the forward, they were put in a position to be those that would detain or guard or manage the gates. They were gatekeepers. But see, we belong in some spaces, right? But not necessarily in all the spaces that they are affiliated with, right? If that makes sense, because we're not going to abide by the rules. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be heard, because there are people in all of these different spaces that need to hear the clarion call, the call of sons of the age, the sons of the eon, to cipher, decode, decipher what these ciphers are, what these things are. I was talking about this I think we were talking about this, how I was in a season where the Father was giving me coordinates. If Elder Vicky is on here, she'll tell you, I went through a season where it was just numbers, numbers, numbers. Numbers, and there were no prophets that I was attached to that could even comprehend what I was saying. So I didn't even have a network of prophets that I could share any of it with to get an answer. I even sometimes took to Facebook and said, where are the prophets? Anybody that knows me and remembers or watched my posts over the years, I have literally called the prophets to the carpet. Where are y'all? Let's decode this. Nobody touched it. Nobody touched it, bro. So what were we really operating in? Because the whole point of fellowship is to come into the unity of the faith. The whole point of fellowship is to be going in the same direction. But see, with the religious industrial complexes, that's why they're all over the place. There's denominations and all of these different factions and sects and all of this stuff. You know what I was thinking about today? In the world, see, here's another one of those ciphers. In the world, here's another key, a decoding mechanism. In the world, they have all these degrees. You know what I'm saying? You get to this level, you 33rd degree. You beyond that, you this degree, you that degree. All of these degrees, all of these levels of measuring things. But in the kingdom, there are just, they are these dimensions, but they're not really announced in degrees like that. You know why? Because it's not about that, because it's not for pride purposes. So Paul would say something like, I know a man. He didn't say I was the man. He said, I know a man. What is he doing? He's saying this ain't about me, so I'm not even gonna put the focus on me. But what I want you to get is the fact that I know a man that was called to the third dimension, whether he was in the body or out of the body. He said, now this is the part I haven't deciphered yet. I don't know whether there was an out of body experience or I was in my body experiencing this. All I know is I had an encounter. Are you? But you see, the focus there is not, I had this encounter and I'm a pope of the nations. I had this encounter and everybody got to come through me because I'm the pope in the land. I'm the real pope. That's stupidity. What? What are we talking about? When it comes to kingdom things, there are not these degrees that people operate in on a fleshly level. There's just wisdom. There's wisdom. Brother, say something. I'm about to let these people go because I got too much to say tonight. And I know I can't say it all. I got too much to say, and I'm not going to finish it all tonight.
I was What I have to say is that I was getting ready to text you that I had to step away for a moment. I have to step away. But
This is what we
yeah,
do. This is what we do on the phone, y'all. For real.
oh my goodness. Just you fool, and that just you come to a place you just hear and listen to what y'all is saying, and so my goodness, my goodness,
It's a lot.
oh my.
It's a lot.
Like I told you, I'm full. So two
Yeah.
full people can't. I'm telling you, I'm full.
Yeah.
So, so I just have to, it just we 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 in a whole different space now.
We are. We really are. And
And
we're in that space.
and there's There's no I don't apologize, and
Nope.
to the space where he has brought us and um, to be. I mean, that is everything that is being done is in the space of seven. What is that language? The numbers, everything that numbers that goes from Genesis to Revelation, it deals with deciphering in the language of seven.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it just it's a it, it's a lot, but it's not a lot because
It
it's
is.
it's it may be because I look at other people and be like, oh, it may be a lot for them,
Yeah, it's
but
not
it's
a
not
lot
a
for me
lot.
because I could
But
talk about this
it,
till 4 o'clock in the morning.
exactly, it's not
I
a
just
lot.
know we're not in a space where people can identify with that.
So
We're,
so
we're, we're
so
not in a space of people being hungry enough for something like
yeah.
that.
so so like you said, there's no neutral place. You know,
No, it's not.
you got to make a decision and follow the Yah. That's all.
That's the
And,
bottom line.
and,
We either in or we
and
out.
that's it. So,
Mhm.
and there are those who will get it
Yep.
and follow, and there are those who won't get it
Yeah.
because the courtyard is not measured. It's
Trying to tell you, it's not.
not measured, and so the inner court is. So that
It
says
is.
that remnant. That's a remnant that will be there. You know,
Yeah.
so to bring people into that space that says, you know, we can't operate as a Levitical under the Levitical, but we have to do under the royal. And what does that look like? What does that sound like? What is that? Everything our conversation is immortal. Everything,
It is.
you know. And they're not. If you want this, this is what you got to do.
And in closing,
Hmm.
to that fact, most people will be like, well, that's going to take some time. Well, to that I say this: the word declares that in a twinkling of an eye, we shall all be changed.
Yeah, that quick work. He's doing quick work. Period. Overnight.
That's how quick it works. That's how quick it happens. You're translated from mortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye.
That's all.
It don't take time. It's all about your perspective. It's all about what your mind is,
That's it.
what you're desiring. And if you're
That's it.
desiring to be changed, then that's what you'll receive. If you're desiring to hold on to what was, then that's what you'll do. But I'm declaring that this is a great time for you to step over into that space of transition in your mind and in your heart, because that's the place where you'll be able to live heaven on earth. Listen, we're going to continue. I don't have the dates, but I'll put them up for you guys. I don't have them in front of me. We've done so much already tonight, and so many things have been going on. I don't have any of that in front of me anymore. But the Day of Atonement is coming up. I believe that I'm going to do the Day of Atonement on September 29th. So that is 8 days from now. 8 days from now. That's the eve of the atonement. Okay. So I will be back and we'll continue this conversation about the cipher. I don't know if it's going to be the same. It might stay the same. It might stay the same graphics and just be changed to Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. I don't know. But the thing that I'm most concerned about is that you hear what the Father has to say. And we've given you some bits and pieces of it today, but it'll be a lot more comprehensive when we come back. I'll have some things in better order, and we've identified some of the things that were causing the problem. But yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to have these conversations, and I'm ready to see the sons shift gears
Mhm.
because it's our time. And if you don't make the transition, you will be left behind. It's just what it is. I've been saying it for years. A lot of people thinking that, oh, if I miss it, you're not going to catch it. It'll be 10 years from now. And if you live in the perception of mortal, you'll be dead before you come back to it. the way the world is going. That's just real. That's not a that's not a curse. It's not anything weird. It's you won't make it to that because the way the world is going, you need the Father and the capacity that we're talking about in order for you to survive what's coming. You're gonna need him, and you're gonna need to be able to live heaven on earth because if you don't, it's not gonna be a good place. Don't stay stuck. Be delivered. That's all I can tell you. And when you step into that deliverance, understand it's not anybody's responsibility to be the sustainer of your deliverance. It's your responsibility. I'm writing some stuff on deliverance. And it's going to piss a lot of people off because it's going to overthrow the whole deliverance ministry as we have known it. Same thing with miracles and all of that. And I'm excited about it because the kingdom has come. It's just what it is. And people need to understand the kingdom and not the accoutrements of the temple that was, the accoutrements of the edifice of the building that men built, right? It's one of the things that the master said when they were walking out of the temple that he was teaching. And Peter said, look at this building. Would you look at this? I'm saying it in my words. Father, Master, would you look at this? Isn't this beautiful? He said, not one stone shall be left upon another. I love y'all. We love you. Listen, we'll be back on the 29th, I believe it is. If anything changes, I'll have it up long before that day so you'll see it. Make sure you join and share with other people so that they can be in the room and hear what we need to decipher in this age of the Eonic Announcement. It is a necessary thing for us to be able to decipher what heaven is saying amidst all the noise. It really is. Brother, I so appreciate you being on and so appreciate you spending this time with me as always. We will be back.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, what's his name? I'll be back. Schwarzenegger will be back.
Right, right.
We will be back.
Yes,
See you
yes.
guys in a few days. Brother, you want to say any final words before we get out of here?
Listen, it's a fun, pleasing pleasure. I want everybody to know I love my brothers and sisters in law forever.
Absolutely. Shalom, shalom, saints.
Shalom, shalom.
All right.